Shall I just give it 1 minute so that it's properly logged in to go live.
Was there somebody else to let in, Pip? Mr. Myers? Or?
Yeah, just 1 second. Councillor Ahmed.
Just give
it 1 minute so that it's right. Okay, we're live now.
Okay, I seem to be in.
Yeah, we can hear you, Martin. You may want to log in with video as well.
There we go.
Fantastic.
Okay. Have we already started or?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Right, we are quorate, so off we go. Can I just ask, I'm sorry, rather than calling you assistant town clerk every time, can I just call you Pip?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Do we have anybody who wishes to speak? I think I was given to understand there might be one person in the waiting room.
I'm unsure who BA is, but that might be the person. I know that there's a guest expected called James Myers.
Not the one I was expecting, but okay. Right, thank you. Sorry for the slight delay with connecting here. Agenda item 1, and welcome to everybody who is, if anybody is, we are live streaming now, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. Reminder of arrangements for remote meetings. In conjunction with all the other, I'm trying to choose my words carefully here and get them right. Everybody apart from myself and Pip will be muted. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand and hopefully we'll get to you. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I'd just like to know if we can establish who BA is, whether it's a councillor or whether it's somebody who wishes to speak. If they could unmute and let us know, or if they could send us a message and let us know, it would be helpful.
Yeah, thanks for that point. It's not a name that I recognise, and it's certainly not the person that I thought was going to speak tonight. So yes, if you could unmute them, please, Pip.
I can only ask to unmute Councillor Walker.
Right, I think probably best if everybody's in agreement that we carry on until we reach item 4, public question time. Councillor Adams.
I've sent BA a message to ask if they can let us know who they are. So if, as I get a message, I will let you know. Okay,
thank you for that. Right, apologies for absence. We seem to have a pretty full attendance.
I've not received any apologies for absence.
Bearing in mind we are carrying 1 vacancy on this committee at the moment. Councillor Abberton.
I believe that Councillor Mick Dowse has a standing arrangement with the town clerk that if he is away on business, he is exempt.
Right, can we note that, please? The clerk is obviously, as I say, in Parliament in another place at the moment. So, yeah, that's fine. I'll add his name, Councillor Dowse. Declarations of interest, do we? Sorry, Councillor Adams again.
Yeah, just to let you know that the BA is Barbara Archer, who was invited by the Mayor to attend. So at least we know who it is now.
Okay, thank you for that. Right, apologies for absence. Item 3, declarations of interest. To receive declarations of interest under consideration on this agenda in accordance with the Localism Act 2011 and the relevant authorities regulations 2012. Declarations of interest from members. Do we have any? Don't see any. Declarations of interest from officers.
None.
Thank you, Pip. Item 4, public question time and participation. Members of the public are advised they're welcome to ask questions about items on the agenda. It is not always possible to give a verbal response at the meeting, and questions may receive a written reply. No resolution can be made under this item. Questions should relate to matters of town council policy or practice and not relate to the individual affairs of either the questioner or any other named person. Right, if you would like to bring our speaker in now, please.
I'm not sure that Barbara wanted to talk, Chair.
So she's just attending as an observer.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Item 5, minutes for decision. Members are asked to approve the minutes of the Planning Committee held on Tuesday, 9th of March 2021. Just a second, Deputy Mayor, before I open this up, it doesn't actually mention in the minutes that I was absent for the first 10 minutes of the meeting when Councillor Bernardini chaired for me. So I'm probably not the best person to judge on what actually took place during the first 10 minutes of the meeting. Councillor Adams first, then Councillor Abberton.
I would propose we accept the minutes.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Abberton? I take that to be seconding them. Okay, so all in favour of accepting those minutes, please show. That's unanimous. Thank you. Item 6, committee comments on planning applications for decision. Number 1, 00852, demolition of existing split level garage and proposed split level annex. This is 37 Malsis Road, Keighley. I hope we've all looked at this, and there are pictures attached on this one as well, I think. Any comments on this? Councillor Abberton?
Okay, so I would quite like to start off by saying absolutely to demolition. It is clearly unstable.
Yeah.
Wouldn't like anybody to be anywhere near that when it actually does collapse. With the proposed split level annex, it's a very much larger footprint, if I'm honest. And I would just like to ask the committee how they feel about it, particularly with parking and access. It's a very, very small road that goes round the back of this particular building. The building is just behind or just in front, if you like, of Timmy Taylor's, and there is an access road, but I understand that that is actually quite a it's not a well-made road, if you see what I mean. And so I'm wondering about the access, and number 2, I'm wondering about where on earth they're parking their cars, because they seem to have quite a lot of cars if you look on Google. Obviously that could have been that they were having a party when Google photographed it, because obviously it was before COVID-19. Well, I would assume it was before COVID-19. So what I'm trying to say is that yes to the demolition, and that the split level annex is really quite a much larger concern. And I'm just asking for views.
Okay, over to you, committee. Any comments? Councillor Akhtar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I have a look at the location plan, firstly, please?
Can you see that plan? Has that come up?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
It's at a sort of 45-degree angle, isn't it? Which is slightly strange, but possibly is to do with the topography of the site. I mean, Malsis Road goes down quite steeply, doesn't it?
Okay, so what you're looking at here, I'm sorry, Chair, may I speak?
Yes, please do.
Thank you very much. So what you're actually looking at here is the very bottom corner of the highlighted red area,
Mhm.
where you can see there's sort of white dots there.
Yeah.
These are actually cars. Having seen that myself on Google, there is the dilapidated split level carport type of thing just there, and there is a sort of track that goes at the back of Timmy Taylor's and then right round to Malsis Road.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can, you can't really see it on this visual. But what you can see is, you know, one car going in backwards and one car going in frontwards. That's the top and bottom. And then at the bottom here, you can see the difference in footprint
Yeah.
of the actual proposed annex.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any other comments on this? My feeling is, looking at the size of it, if it's an unusual construction, shall we say, but I think my feeling is that we have some concerns, possibly about access and possibly about the size of the proposed development. Would that be a fair comment? Councillor Abberton.
I'm sorry to bang on about this. I do apologise. What I'm actually trying to understand is because we want this as a fully contained annex, there will be waste. There will be a toilet. There will be showers or whatever they're going to put in there. I haven't seen anything on there that really shows me how they're going to dispose of that waste. Thank you.
Okay.
Chair, can I just advise that Councillor Shaw and Councillor Akhtar had their hands up to talk?
Yes, please, as I can only see 3 other people. Yeah, Councillor Shaw, please.
Hi, I just want to make you all aware that I only received the agenda late this afternoon, so I've only been able to look at a couple of things. This one wasn't one of them.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Akhtar?
Thank you, Chair. Obviously concerns about access. Obviously there's cars that are going there already anyway, so I don't think it should be too much of an issue there then. Only other thing is about the size of it. If we're okay with the size, I don't see any issue really.
Right. Does anybody else have a comment before we go to vote on this?
Councillor Ahmed.
Councillor Ahmed, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just looking at the building above it, it looks like, I'm not sure whether there's a couple of garages or something. There's something pretty big there already next door in the garden above.
Okay.
So I just wanted to keep that in mind.
Right. Councillor Akhtar, are you prepared to propose this? And then we'll take it from there, so to speak.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll propose that we accept.
That we accept. Yeah, I'll second that. All in favour of accepting this proposal?
Yeah,
Okay. Is that everybody accounted for, please, Pip? Oh,
it is.
okay. Abstentions or against? No. Okay. Number 2, 28 Maple Avenue, which is sort of behind Station Road at Oakworth, or off Station Road. Demolition of existing conservatory and construction of a single-storey rear extension. Could we put perhaps the location plan up for this one, please, Pip?
Yeah.
Any comments on this one before I come in? Again, I can only see Councillor Adams, Councillor Shaw and myself. They seem to have the room to do it, and there appears to be some sort of a rear extension already, matching the one behind. Either that or the houses are extended, so I don't see it's causing a particular problem. Does any, Councillor Adams?
Yeah, it does actually say that it's demolition of existing conservatory, so I presume that is the conservatory at the rear.
I beg your pardon, it does, yes.
I don't see any problem with this. I mean, I would propose that we go ahead. I
Okay,
would vote for that.
thank you. Could we have a seconder, please?
Councillor Bernardini.
Councillor Bernardini, all in favour of, sorry, Councillor Abberton, we're in the vote. Is this just to confirm? Yeah.
Councillor Abbott had her hand up
does,
through
yeah.
what you were saying.
Right, I couldn't see her, I'm afraid. I think we need to proceed to the vote on this one. All in favour? Against or abstentions?
None.
Okay, thank you. Number 3 of
Councillor Abberton's got a hand up, Councillor Walker.
Abberton, sorry.
I'm very sorry that you didn't see my hand up, Councillor Walker. I was actually going to say something about the previous property, and I'm really quite irritated that I didn't have my say. What do you say to that?
I'll say 2 things. One, I had already said I could only see 3 other people. You weren't one of them. The vote has already been taken, but would you like to make your point?
I will make my point. My point is that actually I was going to go ahead with this one, but I feel that I haven't had my say. So I'm really rather irritated, actually.
Councillor Adams.
Yeah, can I suggest ongoing with this meeting, if the assistant town clerk can tell us when people have got our hands, anybody's got the hand up, as soon as you see it, Pip, and then we don't have this sort of problem again. I mean, that's it really. We don't have to go into depth and detail on everything. It's whether we agree, disagree or whatever. So just moving forward, if Pip can keep an eye on things, that would be great.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thank you for that. Pip, I did say at the beginning of the meeting, if you could note people's hands being put up in case I can't see them, which is what happened on this occasion. My apologies to Councillor Abberton.
And Councillor Hammond's got his hand up.
He has indeed. Councillor Ahmed.
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to say that previously I didn't see Councillor Abberton because you can only see 3 people on the screen. So if anybody does want to say anything, they can always just put it on chat So I think if we keep an eye on the chat, then somebody can always, if nobody's seen it, somebody can always say, look, Councillor Aberton or Councillor Bernardini would like to say something.
Yeah, it's a fair comment. Councillor Aberton, Councillor Adams, I can see you, but we've progressed beyond this point now. We have said that Pip will contact us, will contact me as chair if somebody has their hand up.
That's absolutely fine, but can I just let all members know that you do have an arrow at the bottom of the last person and you can scroll up and down to see all members.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that. Number 3, retrospective planning application for alterations in the outbuilding plus low-level decking area at 17 Providence Crescent. Any comments on this one?
Can't see any hands. Oh, Councillor Aberton.
Yeah, Councillor Aberton.
Thank you. This is actually quite a difficult one. I believe that they might possibly have already had the extension built on the side of the house. However, the outbuilding at the back of the garden, which was originally a shed and a greenhouse completely separate, does seem to be really rather large. Now, either they have actually had the extension to the main house. I couldn't find any reference to that on the portal. But equally, the rather large area at the back, I would actually phone the planning office and ask them what they think. Thank you.
Councillor Adams.
Yes, Councillor Adams.
This isn't actually anything to do with an extension on the house. It's the planning permission for alterations to the outbuildings. So it's alterations to the greenhouse and the shed at the bottom of the garden that we're looking at, as far as I can see. But retrospective planning application tells me that they've already done the work anyway.
Yeah, right. I don't want to delay on this, but Councillor Aberton again.
Sorry, you were asking for me?
Yes, I was.
Oh, thank you very much. I was actually going on the other plans, Councillor Adams, and it shows quite clearly in the blue that there is the extension to the house, and there is the outbuilding thing. That's all I was going on, which is why I mentioned it. Sorry.
Councillor Adams.
Yeah, I think this is one that came up before for the extension to the house. I think this is like a separate one on top of it. So I remember us looking at this one. I'm almost certain that we've looked at this one and looked at the extension. Yeah. But this is for those outbuildings. So it's nothing really to do with the house. It's the outbuildings that are in the garden, from what I can see.
Right, thank you.
I mean, I would add that I don't have a problem with it. I mean, the work's already been done anyway, and they've got the room there for it.
Yeah. Does anybody else have a comment before we move to a vote on this?
No hands.
Right. Given this is retrospective, can I suggest that we do accept this? I will propose. I have a seconder. Again, Pip, I can't see anybody else.
Councillor Shaw.
Councillor Shaw, all those in favour?
All apart from Councillor Aberton.
Okay, so abstain or against? Councillor Aberton? Yeah. Sorry, Which one?
Against, I think.
Right. Okay, thank you. Number 4, reconstruction of dilapidated outbuilding to create a new garage and store, an extension on the site of another existing dilapidated structure to create a home office and roof terrace. And this is at Higher Muscar Farm, Muscar Lane, Longley, sorry, Muscar Road, I beg your pardon. Any comments on this one? Councillor Abberton.
I actually know this farm. It is all very dilapidated, and the fact is that what they are trying to do looks absolutely fantastic. And I would actually go to approve this project.
Thank you. Are you seconding Councillor Adams, or do you? Right, we'll go straight to vote unless anybody else has any comments. It's been proposed and seconded. All those in favour, please show.
Yep.
Thank you. Against? Abstentions?
None.
Thank you. Number 5, 13 Glenhurst Avenue. Hip to gable roof front and rear dormers and single story side and rear extension and drop curb. 15, so yeah, 13 Glenhurst Avenue. Any comments on this one?
Councillor Abberton.
Councillor Abberton.
I think this is absolutely fine. And I would like to move to pass this application.
Okay, just before we do, I take on board your point, Councillor Adams, about showing the full screen, but it only reverts to that when there are not plans on screen on my iPad, I'm afraid. That there is no arrow to show full screen or all participants.
Okay, whatever.
I've got 6 people on mine. Because
Oh, okay.
top of the screen there's like a thumbnail with like 9 squares. If you press that, you'll get a square of maybe 6.
Right, this is something I need to practice, obviously. Let's carry on, please. Right, so that's been proposed. Do we have a seconder for that one?
Councillor Shaw.
All in favour?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Number 6, 4 Astwick Close, East Morton, which is off Hospital Road. Conversion of integral garage into a living room. Any comments on this one, please?
Councillor Shaw.
Yeah, Councillor Shaw and then Councillor Abberton.
I have no problem with this. They're only doing it, changing it from a garage to a living room, and a lot of people have done that on there anyway.
Okay, Councillor Abberton.
I concur with Councillor Shaw.
Any other comments on this before we go to a vote? So proposed by Councillor Shaw, seconded by Councillor Abberton. All in favour?
Yes.
Thank you. Rattling on. Number 7 of 15. Construction of detached dwelling at Thorn Bank, Occupation Lane. This is within my ward, and I do know the people involved on a passing basis, but no more than that. There is a comment from Darren Hinchcliffe of Highways suggesting that it would not be acceptable unless the unmade road, which is a public bridleway, for the bottom bit of occupation lane down to Keithley Road / Oakworth Road, unless the client undertakes to repair the road. I'd like the committee's general views on that before we actually go to a vote on it. And I would have thought the definition of a public bridleway is that when it has a sign up saying no access to cars other than to people wishing to use the road to reach their properties. I don't see how that can be a condition. Councillor Adams.
I don't really think it's for us to make a comment. We're looking at the application for the house. You're absolutely right. If it's a public bridleway, then it is a public bridleway. But what their expectations are, we're just looking at a planning application as it is for the construction of a detached dwelling. How Bradford decide whether what will it go ahead is entirely up to them. But, you know, I don't think it's for us to comment.
Thank you. The other thing I should have said, I've seen you, Councillor Abbott, and I'll come to you in a second. The other thing I should have said is that a similar application was made a number of years ago, and that application was for 2 properties to be built. They have a lot of land within which to do that. But the objection that has come from Highways also comments on the fact that Beltrees further up, which we've also considered in the last year or so, received the same objections and was in fact turned down by Bradford on the basis that it would lead to an increase in vehicular traffic. Councillor Abberton.
Okay, so if we were actually to consider Beltrees, one of the reasons that they dismissed that was because people would be, this was for a cattery and people would be dropping off and collecting cats.
Yeah.
I think that this one at Thorn Bank, subject to access, and that is for Bradford to decide, I think that the new dwelling there is absolutely fine, and I would actually propose that we accept that.
Thank you. The concern I have is if you were talking about, for the sake of argument, 8-wheeler vehicles coming either down the metal bit of occupation lane or up from the bottom, which is a square turn off the main road, that would be very, very difficult. Councillor Abberton, yeah, go ahead.
I did actually say within my proposal, subject to access. That actually also includes the actual building of the new build. So I will stand by my proposal.
So your proposal is to accept, but there is some concern about access?
I will say that I would like to propose that we accept this application subject to access.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that proposal to accept subject to access?
Councillor Adams had a hand up, Councillor Walker.
Sorry, who did?
Councillor Adams.
Councillor Adams. Okay, so that's proposed and seconded. All in favour of accepting subject to access?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Number 8. Again, retrospective application for the timber decking to the rear of the property, 14 Damems Road. And that's the top end of Damems Road, if you can call it that. In other words, off Halifax Road, rather than the Brackenbank side. Any comments on this one?
You've got Councillor Shaw, Akhtar and Adams.
Okay, in that order then, Councillor Shaw.
I have no problem with this.
Okay.
I'm proposing that we accept it.
Okay, councillor Akhtar,
No, I'm happy with it as well. Yeah, it's fine.
councillor Adams,
Yeah, I just say that I walk past this with the dogs quite a lot, and it looks absolutely fantastic. They've done a brilliant job. It's great, so absolutely not a problem at all.
excellent. Okay, so proposed, seconded, all in favour.
Yes.
That's lovely, thank you. Number 9, now 00927 proposed single story rear extension. This has AA on the planning application. Can I just point out that the address is incorrect? The address is 1717, not 7 Ada Street. Any comments on this?
Councillor Adams, Chair.
Sorry.
The only comments I've actually got, it doesn't, can we just, is it better to refrain from saying which architect it is? Because it really doesn't matter who the architect is that proposes this. It's whether it fits within planning regulation. It doesn't matter who's putting it forward.
Yeah, I take your point, Councillor Adams, but during the 4 years that I've been on planning, AA is normally an indication of a well thought through application.
And it could also, when we keep mentioning it, could be an indication that you're being favourable to AA. So again, can I ask that we refrain from mentioning who the architect is?
Yeah, so in fact, one of the previous applications was also from them and I didn't mention it then. So, right, proposed single story rear extension, any comments? Councillor Shaw, Councillor Abberton, I can see. Councillor Shaw?
I haven't got a problem with it.
Okay, so will you propose?
I will.
Thank you. Councillor Abberton?
To be perfectly honest, Mr. Chair, rather than one person who actually says, I don't have a problem with it, I don't think that when you have 2 other people to go behind that person, you should ask if they wish to propose.
Fair point. Yes, okay. Thank you.
However, I do actually concur with Councillor Shaw.
Right, so Councillor Shaw proposing. Can I have a seconder?
I thought you had somebody else who wanted to speak.
Pip?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, I apologise.
In
So
which
yes,
case,
I'll
I'll
second.
second. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Number 10, 6 Moorfield Drive, Oakworth. Demolition of existing garage, construction of a single story side extension. This is on the road up Slaymaker Lane and then on the right hand side. Councillor Abberton, are you showing hand?
Thank you very much. This property is going to go boundary to boundary. I'm not sure that I have a massive problem apart from that.
Does it sort of, I can't see immediately on the small screen here, but it is, I think it's at the end of a line anyway, is it not? I mean, Moorfield Drive is relatively short. Councillor Abberton, sorry.
I'm just saying that it goes boundary to boundary of their line. So therefore you can't actually get access to the back garden without going through the house. That is all my my query was.
Okay, any other comments? No. So are we minded to approve this one? I think you did say at one point, Councillor Abberton, that despite the limitations on the side, you would be prepared to propose it?
Just like the committee to actually think about the fact that it goes boundary to boundary, and you know there are various stipulations that say that you can't do that. Surely.
Given that I've already asked the other councillors for comment, would it make sense? Sorry, Pip. Yes?
All right, can I just say that Councillor Adams and Councillor Shaw have now put their hands up.
Right, Councillor Adams.
Yeah, I would say they're getting rid of a garage anyway to replace it with an extension. I would propose to go for this.
Right, do I have a seconder? Is that you seconding Councillor Abberton? Sorry. Need to change my glasses. Right, all those in favour of accepting?
Yep.
Okay. Number 11, change of use to restaurant and takeaway with internal and external alterations. This is 68 to 70 Cavendish Street, which is the double vacant property immediately above Skipton Building Society. And the intention is, I think, that it's going to become a restaurant called Akbar Spice. Any comments on this?
Councillor Abberton and Councillor Bernardini.
Okay, Councillor Abberton.
My question to the committee is: do we really need another restaurant down Cavendish Street? Would it not be better to wait until COVID-19 has gone and that we can actually have some decent shops down Cavendish Street?
Yeah, I take your point. I should have said that in the 9 documents relating to this application, the Department of Health, I think there are certain conditions and they are happy with the idea. There are other properties on Cavendish Street that are also takeaways. So while I take your concern on board, I think we have to deal with this as the application goes, which is change of use. I'm happy to recommend this.
Chair, can I just say that Councillor Bernardini and then Adams?
I'm sorry, I do beg your pardon. Councillor Bernardini.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to say that we don't really have restaurants in Cavendish Street that is right the center of the town. Also with our town center that is emptying day by day. If they are investing to open a new restaurant in the center that is gonna bring life into the center in the evening, if they want to invest into that, for me is very welcome. I actually would like to propose for approval. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm sorry, who else was wanting to speak?
Councillor Adams.
Councillor Adams, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say something very similar to Councillor Bernardini. I think yes, we have far too many takeaways. No, we don't have that many good restaurants. So I think it's an excellent change of use. And as Councillor Bernardini said, I would rather see a building in use than yet another empty building in the town. So I would second Councillor Bernardini in his proposal.
Thank you. Just before we go to the vote on this one, I did say this is in fact a double plot as well, which allows for it to be a reasonable size, I would hope. Okay, proposed and seconded. All those in favour?
Councillor Javed Akhtar wishes to speak.
I'm sorry, Councillor Akhtar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and Councillor Deputy Mayor. Only issue. Is there any highways report with this objection or approval or what? Because you see, there's. I agree with the comments that have been made by Councillor Bernardini and the councillor. That is something that we have to welcome. Anything that brings buildings back into use. But issue is, you've probably seen it with other takers as well. If it's double yellow lines out there, you know, there's where they're going to be parking, takeaway vehicles and all that sort of thing.
Can I answer that?
Yes, go ahead.
It's not going to be a takeaway anymore. It's going to be a restaurant. You have car parking in Cavendish Court, at the back of Cavendish Court, and there is also car parking not far across the road where B&M and JD Sports and everything are. There's a big car park there.
Right. Just before we go on, just to clarify, it does say on the application change of use to restaurant and takeaway. So that would seem to indicate the takeaway will continue.
Can I just add that every restaurant nowadays is doing takeaway as well, and also yet there is plenty of parking space. So personally, I will stand behind my proposal.
Okay, so that's proposed and seconded.
Sorry, Chair, Councillor Abberton's shaking,
Councillor Abberton.
waving a hand.
Hi. I don't think that actually outside this property is double yellow lines. Actually,
It's, my recollection is it's a loading bay with a limited term of about 15 minutes on it. Okay, so can we go to vote on this then, please? All those in favour?
Yes.
Thank you. 4 more to go. Change of use again to form 3 self-contained flats and creation of a window to the rear. Sorry. I do beg your pardon. Number 12 of 15. Apologies. Single-storey extension to existing property at 27 Sunny Hill Grove. Any comments? And thank you for waving. Councillor Abberton.
I have no problem with this one.
Any other comments, please?
No hands, Councillor Walker.
Okay, I would agree. I don't see a problem with this. I'm happy to second. All those in favour?
Yep.
Okay. Now number 13. Change of use to form 3 self-contained flats and creation of window to rear elevation at 63 Bradford Road, Riddleston. Any comments?
Councillor Abberton.
Councillor Abberton.
Thank you, Chair. These are extremely small. They are a bedroom and a lounge kitchen. There are toilets, and that seems to be about it, apart from one ensuite. There appears to be no baths, no showers. I don't consider those self-contained, and I would actually say that that is an abysmal way of dealing with it. Far too small. So I would propose that we say no.
Okay, I'll just take views from other councillors first. Any other comments?
Councillor Adams, Chair.
Councillor Adams?
I actually agree. I mean, the proposed ground floor, yes, there's an ensuite there and it's like a studio flat. But first floor, I can't see a bathroom area at all. So I would, I'd say it's not fit for purpose.
Thank you for that. Right. Anybody else got a comment before we go to vote on this? Councillor Abberton has proposed that we reject this application on the basis that
As Councillor
not
Adams,
to avoid the word sanitation, but
as Councillor Adams says, I believe that it is not fit for purpose. There are not enough hygiene areas.
yes. Beautifully put. Right, okay, so that's proposed and seconded to be rejected. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Thank you. Number 14. This is a submission of details required by condition 6, off-site highways improvement to planning application, planning approval 1905-255, and it's SUB02. I think I'm right in saying that normally speaking with these, we note them. And this is obviously an amendment to a previously approved one, which we passed a couple of years ago for ASDA. I could see Councillor Abberton had a hand up. Anybody else wish to say anything?
Can't see any hands, Chair.
Right, in that case, we will note this, please. And the last one of 15. Agricultural building at Cradle Edge Farm, Backshore Lane. We could have done with Councillor Dowse on this one, I think, but comments? Councillor Abberton, I can see.
I know this property as well as Councillor Dowse. Having looked at all the plans, I do believe that there is nothing that we can say to stop this from going ahead. They have a very, very good reason for needing the barn. They have, I think it is 25 ewes, and they need storage space for the hay. They also need storage space for inclement weather to keep the sheep who will be in lamb. I have absolutely no problem with this one whatsoever.
I rather wish we'd had it somewhat earlier, given that we're out in the middle of the lambing season, but yeah, I concur with what you're saying. I don't have a problem with this. I'll propose this for acceptance. Seconder, please. Councillor Bernardini, all in favour?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Applications granted merely for noting. I should say at this point, although it's not on the agenda, that there were a further 6 applications, but on our rule of 15, if you like, the further 6 are going to be deferred. Councillor.
Sorry,
Sure.
Chair, I'll just advise you that Councillor Shaw's got a hand up, and we've
Yes,
also got a Jill in the waiting room. Would you like me to admit Jill?
Yes, please.
There.
Councillor Shaw.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to leave the meeting. I have an important phone call that I've got to take.
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye everyone.
The lady who's just joined us, can I ask you just to adjust your camera a little bit more and then introduce yourself, please?
The lady's not connected yet, Martin, so she is now.
Mm-hmm. Can you unmute yourself, please, if you can hear me, and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jill Miles.
Okay. Are you here to observe because you weren't on the list of, I do beg your pardon. It's coming up now as Councillor Adams.
It's a public meeting, Councillor Walker. Anybody can join the meeting at any time as an observer or as a speaker.
Okay, thank you for that. And we have James Myers as well,
We do, Chair.
who is connected. Sorry, I'll just hang on a second for him to join. Right. Sorry, if you can hear me, Mr. Myers, if you can just unmute yourself.
Yes, sir, I can hear you indeed.
And if you'd like to go, yeah. Okay. So sorry, the lady first, please. Can you just say what you have to say, please?
For myself.
Yes.
Well, I'm just here. I'm one of the residents of Moorlands Avenue, so I'm obviously here, you know, with James, regarding the details about the build at the back of us.
Okay.
We're not very happy about it. We're constantly getting flooding coming through the garden from the back anyway, as it is, and I don't think that building on the back is going to help our situation because nobody seems to be helping us with the flooding that we're currently having. And you know, I just don't think it's a good place to build with access through Moorlands Avenue. Moorlands Avenues are not, you know, nowhere near a good access to go on to more houses at the back of us. We have trouble with parking along the road anyway at the best of times.
Right, thank you. I can see your hand up, Councillor Adams. Can I just ask Mr. Myers, please, to unmute and ask whether this is on the same subject?
So yes, this is with regards to, yes, the planning application for the, well, not the plan application, but in terms of the area being included in the plan behind Moorlands Avenue, which I think is directed KY 12, Keith Lees.
Yeah, that's correct. This is coming up later on in the agenda. That may be what Councillor Adams was going to say, but the local plan is up for discussion at a later point on the agenda. So if you'd like to stay with us.
Super, thank you.
Both of you.
Thank you.
Councillor Bernardini, could I ask you just to take over the meeting for a couple of minutes? Thank you.
Yes. Deputy Mayor Adams wanted to say something.
It doesn't matter now, Councillor Bernardini, sorry.
Okay. So we have been on the sorry, just a minute, where are we at? Application granted for noting. Yeah.
Councillor Bernardini, can I just advise you that Councillor Akhtar's got his hand up?
Councillor Akhtar, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Town Clerk Assistant. I lost trail of what agenda item we'd got to actually, and I apologize for that, but it's a question about a previous meeting which we had, and we deferred a plan, 38 Scott Street, West Scott Lane, Riddlesden. What's happened to that? Because apparently there were some objections to that, and the people who were objecting to it wanted to come and speak about it, and they didn't, you know, get to speak about it. What's happening with the application? Have we made a submission?
Right, Pip, please.
Councillor Bernardini, Councillor Adams has got her hand up.
Yep, please, Councillor Adams.
I'm back.
I have, in answer to your question, Councillor Akhtar, I've been in constant contact with Mr. and Mrs. the people who were email. I think they copied you in the original email, and the council. Unfortunately, I think that when we had the meeting, I believe that the chair invited them to come to the meeting, but I don't believe that the town clerk was asked to invite them to the meeting, so they didn't have the agenda and they couldn't come. It is being dealt with. There's not a great deal can be done at the moment because it's already gone, but I am still in correspondence with them.
Okay, Councillor Bernardini, I'm back now, please. Could you just fill me in, Councillor Adams? Because I think I know what this is about, but if you could just
Well,
repeat
it's
it.
not about anything now because it isn't on the agenda, so therefore it cannot be discussed. So can we please move on to the next agenda item?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, we are at the application refused for noting, Chair. Back to you.
Okay, thank you. So, section 2, applications granted. These are just for noting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Applications refused. There are 2, one of which has been referred to the area panel. Section 4, applications withdrawn. There are none. Other planning matters, section 5, there are none. Delegation of comments on planning applications, there are none. Item 8 on the agenda, pre-application consultation for decision to agree. The council's response to the Bradford local plan consultation. You should all have had a 5-page document from the clerk, which I hope you've had time to look at. I have added a separate page to that, which I handed in on Monday morning, which basically makes reference to KY12 and KY13, which are the 2 potential development sites above Moorlands Avenue. So I think, Mr. Myers, you haven't actually said anything yet other than that it was about the same application. Do you want to expand on that before we open it for discussion?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you very much indeed for inviting me to speak. It was just with regards to KY12 and a couple of items just within the description on KY12 about the actual description of where the land is, etc. One of them was with regards to the fact that it was next to a designated village green, and I was looking for some further information with regards to where that designated village green was, and I believe also in some of the paperwork that was kindly handed by yourself, Councillor Walker. They were talking about access from West Lane, which I'm sure we're all quite aware that where West Lane is and where Moorlands Avenue, that access wouldn't be there. I think those were the 2 main points with regards to the description of that section of land.
Thank you. Just for the committee's information, I have covered both of those points in my additional comments. So can I throw the response open to discussion by the committee now, and any individual comments that people wish to add to what I've seen your hand, Councillor Adams? Any additional comments to what the draft proposals from the clerk was? And I'd like to commend him for going into considerable detail on this. Councillor Adams.
Yeah, can I just ask Councillor Walker, have you shared your 1-page comments with the rest of the committee?
I was hoping that Sarah Kissack would do that when I passed it to her yesterday morning, yes. I'm not aware that it's been so. I've been elsewhere all day today, unfortunately, so I've not been able to check that.
Well, I really don't think you should be building on hope. I think it should have been shared with the committee. This is a committee. It isn't one member's thoughts. And I think we should have all the information in front of us before we can actually make any decisions. So, I mean, for future reference, if you are doing some comments, can we have them as well, please?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I am the ward councillor for this. I did it at the first opportunity I got. I did it on Sunday night and passed it to Sarah Kissack at 10 o'clock on Monday morning. My understanding was that she would share it with other councillors. If that hasn't been done, I apologise on her behalf. Any other comments on the 5 pages that have already been circulated? I mean, I can tell the committee what the gist of my comments was, but most of it is being covered by the 2 members of the public who are at the meeting. Any other comments? Does anybody feel there was a particular area that should have been included, for example? I'd hope that Councillor Monsell might be able to attend as an observer this evening, because obviously he's got specific concerns about the 2 Oakworth developments. But if nobody's, Councillor Actor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did have a lengthy discussion on this, and this draft plan has been brought about after that discussion. And if there's anything else that needed amending or adding, we were given the opportunity, and I think we're quite happy with that. And unless what you have said, that you've actually covered the James and Jill's concerns, we're okay with it, unless there's something there that's been missed from the last meeting, or the committee feels that's not there. Otherwise, you can tell us what was it that you added, perhaps, and then we're happy to move on with it.
Yeah. That's fine. If committee are happy with this, yes, my concerns were, first of all, access up Moorlands Avenue, which is a steep road which has cars parked on both sides. The only access up to the proposed site KY12 would be up a sort of partially metalled road which runs up to, I think it's High Springs Farm, and a couple of other buildings up there. There's a public footpath which runs across the top of Moorlands Avenue. In the application, it seems to indicate that that is going to be maintained. Yes, it will be maintained because it's behind a barbed wire fence. It's not part of the development site. The other side of that particular fence is the footpath, which abuts onto the back walls of all the properties on the upper side of Moorlands Avenue. It's a very unsuitable access point, particularly if you're talking about 8-wheeler lorries, because there are several turns and it's not a well-made road. The additional point I would make is the one that Mr. Myers has already mentioned, that one of the things to be investigated is potential access from West Lane. Well, unless you're going through the entire Fell Lane and Westburn ward to get to it from a mile away, that's unlikely to affect the outcome. There is also a related point, and this is where I mentioned KY13. The related point to this is there is a suggestion in KY13 that at some future point, the 2 development sites might be linked, but that would require acquiring an extra field which is currently behind existing buildings. The further point I would make is that one of the access points is described as a field gate. This is all in the thing, and I will ensure that Pip passes this on to everybody. The further point is that they suggest as a possible access point for, let's say, 8-wheeler lorries, a field gate on the right-hand side of Thornhill Avenue, about 4 houses up. I went and looked at this, and one of the residents came out, asked who I was, I explained what the position was, and she said, the difficulty with that is that that field gate, the grass in front of it is jointly owned by myself and one other resident. I think it's generally known as a ransom strip. There's no way that you would be able to get vehicles up and through that. And also there's the difficulty that bottom of Moorlands Avenue and the bottom of Thornhill Avenue are both steep hill T-junctions onto Keighley Road, Oakworth Road. I could go into more detail about the unsuitability of it, but the prospect of that being, in effect, urban sprawl going across almost a quarter of a mile, I would suggest, is a reason why I wouldn't be happy with that. I should also say that a petition has been done and handed in again on Monday morning. I haven't shared this with the committee yet, but I'm telling them now. A petition was drawn by an individual concerned resident living at number 5, who came down, asked me if I could help, and I said, what are you considering? And he said, can we put a petition together? And I said, if you wanted to do that, I'm sure it would be considered. We have to bear in mind that the closing date for comments is tomorrow to Bradford. And my understanding is that that petition will go together with the 5 pages of the town clerk's report and my additional page, which I will ensure, Pip, if you can make sure that that's circulated to everybody so they're aware of it. But I think I've covered everything that was on that. Does anybody have any further comments? Okay, this is for a decision then. So we're happy with the proposed draft plan plus my single page edition. Are you proposing, Councillor Adams? Yeah. Okay. Seconder, Councillor Bernardini. All in favour of accepting this? Can I just say we also have an extra icon come up now, Family's iPad. They're muted at the moment and I'm not sure who that is, unless anybody can enlighten me.
Hi, it's Mr. Kane. I live at number 11 Mullins Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
It doesn't matter who people are, Councillor Walker, it is a public meeting, so anybody can join.
Yes, I understand that, but it's helpful to know who people are. It's a public meeting. Right. Between items 8 and 9, I'm not altogether clear about this. Sorry, have we gone to a vote on accepting this?
We were halfway there, Chair.
Proposed and seconded. All in favour of accepting the draft proposals plus my extra page? Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, between 8 and 9, you're going to help me on this one, Pip. Proposed upgrade to existing radio base station, but that doesn't seem to have an agenda number.
1 second. Sorry, just say which part you're on now, Chair.
We've just gone past 8, pre-application consultation for decision, we've decided. And 9 is planning appeals for noting. But between those two, there is the extension to the existing base station. I think from past memory with previous ones of these, we look at the details, we accept them, given that we're not engineers. Can any of the colleagues help me out on this? I think this has been the case in the past. Councillor Abberton.
Thank you, Chair. I believe that obviously we will have had a look at those, and what you say is that it is actually not our decision to make, and that is for a planning officer to make.
Yeah.
None of us are planning officers, and therefore I don't believe that we have the say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Adams.
Yeah, as it says, planning appeals for noting. We are just noting these appeals. We're not doing anything else. So we've seen them, we've got them in our packs, and we are noting them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but with respect, this is an unnumbered item on the agenda between 8 and 9. That's the point I'm making. It doesn't come under section 9, it's before section 9 on the agenda. But I will say, I will go with what Councillor Abberton is saying on this. This is in effect for noting. If that isn't the case, Pip, could you check with the clerk and get back to me?
Chair, I think the attachments are there under 8. As there are 3 attachments. I'm assuming that those are related to the proposed upgrade. So it is under section 8.
Yeah,
The attachments were in the agenda pack.
yeah. But they don't form any part of the local plan consultation, do they? Sorry to be fussy, but I don't quite understand why it's there.
I think
Um,
Councillor Adams and
Councillor Adams and then Councillor Abberton, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It actually says pre-application consultation for decision to agree the councillor's response. So that is it. So all they've done is missed a number. There is no need to be so pedantic about it. It's quite clear that there's a proposed upgrade. We've got the documentation. We either agree or we don't, and we move on.
Which is why I've said it's for noting. Thank you for that. So 9, section 9 now, planning appeals for noting. Notice of appeal by Mr. Wotton, 6 Cargrove, Riddleston. Proposal for
Sorry, Chair. Can I think Councillor Abberton wanted to talk.
I'm sorry, Councillor Abberton.
Right, it's okay. She said no.
Okay. So 9, planning appeals for noting. Mr. Wotton, 6 Cargrove, Riddleston. And as it says, this is for noting. Duly noted. Item 10, town plan for noting. This is a regular feature on our meetings and it is just for noting. Similarly, item 11, budget for noting. Members to consider the budget update. And item 12, date and time of next meeting. The next meeting will be held 3 weeks from now. Please note that. And Pip, if you could mention it also when you send the minutes out for Councillor Shaw's benefit, because it may affect her work pattern. Date and time of the next meeting will be Tuesday, the 13th of April 2021. This is because P&G, which takes precedence, is on the Tuesday before, on the 6th. Thank you all for attending and thank you, Pip, for your help. Thank you. Good night.
Thanks very much indeed, everybody.